right. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. We'll be going over the market and today's plays. Yesterday, we focused a little bit more on the buy setup. Today, the focus will be on the breakout since we had a lot of very interesting breakouts. And then the market itself, potentially start of a breakout failure. So we'll take a look at that and see what that could potentially turn into. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for September 1st, 2021. Qs up just 0.17, was up more. High there, 382.71. SPY basically flat on the day as well, did make a new all-time high today. And then IWM up 0.2%. We talked about the hourly buy setup yesterday in the IWM. See, that's following through now today. Okay, but we'll see what the Qs and SPY have in store. We could potentially be getting a little bit of an hourly attempt to break out and then coming back in. So we could get a short-term pullback in the Qs and SPY. We got the topping tail, so you can expect on the inside here, we tried to break out and then didn't get the follow through on that breakout. We are extended also on the Qs and the SPY, which is why we said yesterday we could pull back and still be bullish, and that would be a nice opportunity to play the Qs and SPY long. Okay, so a little bit more neutral going into tomorrow, just in the short term. If we break below here, yesterday's low around 451, or 450.90. Neutral in the short term on the SPY, and then for the Qs, also yesterday's low under 378.36. Okay, then I'll expect a short-term pullback, and then we'll see what that looks like. All right, before we turn bullish again in the short term. Long term, it's hard to argue with the bullishness going on here. I'm expecting a pullback, so we'll see. And then if we get underneath yesterday's low, that'll be confirmation. Okay, that we should expect a short-term pullback. We'll see what that pullback looks like, and then we'll worry about when and if we transition back up higher. Okay, all right, let's get on to today's plays. The AMBA, really nice gap here, continuing the larger time frame here, continuation, gapping over this base and looking higher. This actually is a very similar setup to the one that we had on Monday as far as the gap. See the IRDM here? This was the gap that we played on Monday, and then weekly also continuing up higher. So that on the IRDM was pretty nice, and then so was the AMBA. The only thing with the AMBA was that it was pretty spready this morning. Did have some, it took a while here for it to break out, but eventually did. Never went into any kind of downtrend, just was difficult to hold. I ended up passing on this one due to the spread. And then the ironic thing is that I played this DLO instead, which ended up being just as spready, if not more spready. Now, here's the DLO. Again, we're talking about breakouts. You see that this was breaking out on the daily here. And then on the intraday, we got a breakout right in here. Okay, this ended up being very, very spready. I remember one of these highs that it made, it like dropped $1 within the bar. So yeah, so it was a pretty big move there. 73, yeah, this one went from 73.04 to 72.09 inside that 2-minute bar. So it was a little bit difficult to hold. Eventually did trail off the hourly there underneath that bar. Was okay. I think max on this was like 2.5 hours. It's just a big stop. That's why, even though it moved up, I don't know. The entry was like over 69.50. Moved up, yeah, 69.50, almost $4, but the stop was almost $2. So that's why. So it was okay play. It wasn't that big. And then the CIDM was all right. CIDM mentioned the level 2 in the morning, and then also did this pullback here. I did not manage this very well. I actually took it here because I got a little bit, because I had scalped it in the morning. was a little bit too focused on the level 2, and I got shaken out of it. So, it's rare that I'll start off doing something that's level 2 and then play it again as a chart play or something like that. And, so I think this is just a little bit, because it's not something I do, I made that mistake. Otherwise, this could have been a little bit better on the CIDM. And then nice play from James on the SLI into the afternoon. Again, another high of the day base breakout here. Yeah. So breakout there. So that was nice too. So we had a lot of these. And what's impressive too on like the AMBA and the SLI is that was during the time when the market was coming in. Okay, and these were staying really, really strong. And so, yeah, so then that's your sign. Because if the market bounces at all, these are going to bounce to a greater extent. And then a lot of them, if, market stays weak, they're on their own page. They're going to do their own thing anyway. And that was, what you see across the board on these. Look at all this volume here. So it wasn't, just any old day on the SLI. It was a day that you should be paying attention to it. AMBA as well, big volume. DLO, right? Pretty big volume, at least well above average, probably 200% above average, if not more. And then the CIDM, yeah, a little bit of an increase there, still well above average, right? And then clearing resistance, clearing a topping tail from yesterday. So, it wasn't just these kind of things where just following the market, because that's always the concern, because the Qs was actually pretty bullish initially through most of the day, really, doing this. So as you can expect, there's going to be a lot of charts that look like some variation of this, right? Basing towards the top. Now those charts, as soon as the Qs come in, are going to pull those down with it. Okay, so if it's something that's not on its own page, that is just looking bullish because of the market, it's going to fail if the market does this. But if you go after stuff that had its own gap, had its own news, had its own catalyst, there's a much better chance that these are going to still continue. And then maybe when the market, which didn't really give much of a bounce today, today's overall, the range is pretty small. But if it had, you can expect, your play to get even that much more juice. Okay. So those were the plays from today. I thought there was kind of a little bit of stuff to do throughout the day, maybe up until like the last hour or so. Got a little bit less interesting, less things out there to do, but I thought it was fine given, the time of the year and everything else. So, all right, that's going to do it for today's market wrap. Hope you did well. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.